it's written as an approval of the size request for the variance, subject to an additional 5-foot setback as a condition imposed by the board,
So what's the total setback?
10 feet.
Thank you.
We good with that, Patty? I'm sorry, I didn't have, I don't have,
1,000% good with it.
huh?
1,000% good with it.
All right, good. Okay. The next one is written as a holdover. We actually have a decision on the Janet and Bridget Stanley, 139 Point Road. We have a decision written to accept that variance, approve that variance rather, so I'm gonna make a motion that we go ahead and accept that decision as written.
Second.
Second by Dan, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Nay. Joe, so we have a, Mr. Musnicki is opposed to that, maybe? We have a 4-1 on that too. All right, good. If you're following our agenda, the next one is the Quantum Beach Club Inc., but 49 Dune Road, but that was held over until January, so we won't be having that tonight. So our next one is going to be Daniel Mink, 81 Dune Road. The applicant seeks variances for 195/35C for a proposed two-story deck with a crest of the dune setback of 51 feet, where the minimum required is 75 feet, and proposed pool with the crest of the deck setback of 55 feet, where the minimum required is 75 feet.
Good evening from the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Road, West Hampton Beach. As we, as you may recall, the discussion from last time about this application, so we went back and sharpened our pencil a little bit, and with the help of Sal Iannone, the architect, who's here tonight with me, we reduced the deck extension from 20 feet to 5 feet to 15 feet, sorry.
We reduced it 5 feet.
We reduced it by 5
That's what I
feet to
saw.
15 feet. Which also led to a reduction in the size of the pool. We provided architectural drawings demonstrating that, and also indicating what a piling plan might look like. Not fully engineered, but partially architected, I guess might be the word. And in addition, I don't know if you can see it or not, but we have provided for a privacy screen in the deck on the east side? East side, to acknowledge the concerns of the.
They were concerned about the privacy.
Yes.
So. Mhm.
So now we did not translate this into a survey because we wanted to get the board's feedback before proceeding any further with that, but from the architectural plans, I think you gets the idea.
So you reduced what would be the setback to the crest of the dune?
What was originally proposed was 56 feet on one edge and 51 feet on the other edge. And so now it will go to 40, the other way. It will go 5 feet further away. So the setback would become 55, 61 and 55, approximately.
So what I have here on the application, Jim, is a crest of dune setback of 51 feet.
Right. So that figure will go to 56.
56,
Yes.
and then the proposed pool, 55, is gonna go to 60?
Yes.
How much did you reduce the pool? size
The
of
pool is 12 by 22. Do you recall what the?
Yeah, I think it's noted on the drawings.
Is not drawing?
The only drawing I have is that.
Uh-huh.
It's 50 or 90.
Oh, no, it's the one they said. It's the- right?
Rotate the old pool into the drawing as well, so you can see the freeform pool.
13 by 22, okay.
Yeah. We tried to accommodate the concerns as best we could while still achieving the desired goal of getting a little bit more space on the.
Right, you wanna have a little bit bigger deck and
Yeah.
also being concerned with the neighbor.
Correct.
So, that's all you have
That's
for now? So I think we're probably somebody's gonna be a neighbor. So we're gonna have a neighbor, so we're gonna see what they say,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
And we'll take
Well,
that.
let's see what they say.
Okay, Jim?
Yeah. Thank you.
Have you had any discussions with the neighbor?
Let's try to have a discussion. Um, so,
So why don't you, for the record now, restate?
restate who we are, right? I'm Richard Brown. I'm at 77 Dune
Mhm.
Road, which abuts 81 Dune Road to the east. And uh,
Where, how close to you?
on the survey,
Not on the survey, how many houses? Are you 4
we're
houses?
the, no, we are the house next door.
We are the house next
We are
door.
the house
Thank you,
next
that's what I
door,
wanted
right.
to know.
So basically, well, I mean, you have a concern in terms of the dunes and the amount it's into the dunes. I might say that 5 feet does not, to me, in the spirit of what we were talking about last time or what was being talked about, does not seem like much of a subtraction.
It is a 25% when you do the math. You know that, right?
Okay,
So that is significant because if they were asking for a 25% variance, that's a significant number.
well, let me say that what they were asking for seemed extremely aggressive in the first place. If you look at this, the deck is almost the footprint of the house. And so, I mean, to us anyway, it was significant. But I think the personal piece of this, I mean, and I'm operating, if you've asked them to come back with a plan, I'm operating that you're looking at something here that works. Um, we have an upside down house that's
Yeah.
pretty close to that property. We have a bedroom and a living room, which are major rooms that look out in that direction through the picture windows. Because of the presence of the deck, we already have half of the picture window in the bedroom closed. Regardless of how far you go, the other half is going to be done there too. Um, they're talking about screening. It's probably wood fencing. I think that's going to be difficult and it's probably going to be ugly. What we'd like to have is trees. When we put our pool in the front yard, we went to Mr. Mink
Mhm.
and to the town and said, we are going to put in shading trees, full grown, in there to ensure your privacy. And I think that probably is going to have a hard time doing that on the upper deck in terms of what will grow there that would cover it. But I mean, that's the kind of cover that we would really be looking, if at all possible, to have, not a wooden deck that we're staring at. Um, the other thing, I think, is that just this open space. I think in order to have this deck at the maximum possible size, they've got the pool running essentially north and south. And I have no idea why it's not running east and west with less of an incursion into the dunes. I mean, it just makes much more sense to me that way than it does to run at the corner north and south. And they talk about that as a way that essentially they have to be able to get it in. But the truth is that all they do by that is creating a lot of additional space for other uses of the deck. And they could perfectly well have a serviceable deck with a pool running the other way. So, um, with another setback from what is being proposed. So that's is something that seems pretty obvious to me.
Mhm.
How they shield it, I don't know. I mean, we would want that to be built into anything that was approved. I mean, I think that would be our objective. I mean,
So your objective is to have proper screening. Am I following you?
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I mean, I
there,
think
there
that-
isn't any question about it. And um, I think that without that, I think that I guess my feeling would be, I understand why this is a major increase in the value of his property and the value of the usage, but every bit of the increase that occurs to him reduces ours. So you're weighing two different sides, and you can weigh that out as you will. But I mean, that's the facts overall. So that's all I have.
Now, just a question.
Yeah.
Your argument is about privacy.
One argument, I mean, I think the argument I started out with last week was about incursion into the dunes, but I mean, clearly by suggesting to him that he come back with an alternative, that process is moving forward. And so, I'm now addressing, what seemed to be a very minor reduction of the incursion into the dunes, and also ways that we might reduce as much as possible, either looking at a wall or basically looking at the deck further out. And so, I mean, that's our issue. We've got twin issues, but I mean, our issue really is that privacy issue from being a next door neighbor.
Okay.
Now, he's talked a lot about, us having a deck too, or our house is pre-existing, and look, our deck is 12 feet in one spot, half of it, and 14 feet in the other. Our deck is minuscule compared to this, and I'm not arguing that we should have a bigger deck, but I'm just saying, that this was 24 years that he'd lived under these zoning restrictions, and these are the ones that he had when he built his house, essentially further towards the beach. And now, he's really in a position where he's saying, look, I want more, and I get it. And that's, your issue. We'd rather there not be made a decision on this. Our lawyer has been trying under Freedom of Information to look at 17. Hadn't been able to get the plot plan on that. So, I mean, I think we're looking for some kind of a holdover so at least she gets a chance to study that in terms of a decision on this. But that would be our preference. Yeah.
Quick response, even at the original distance that we were seeking, his house is still forward of us. So he's looking back at us. We're looking at him from behind. So, but we've reduced that. We're willing to do some. We didn't really give much thought to what the privacy screen might look like because we wanted to float the concept first. But we would be happy to come back and provide more detail as to what we might be able to do in that regard. I don't think full-size trees that we're going to plant in the ground that will be immediately
You
covering
can't get
the second
30 foot.
floor. Well, you can, but they're pretty dear, as I recall, price-wise.
Right.
But we may be able to do something like that on the first level of the deck, and then provide something more architecturally pleasing on the second floor. So we would be happy to do that. And we have no objection to their attorney continuing to look at this.
You're gonna put it on a survey too, right? That was
Yes.
your idea?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
when
yeah,
you-
well, ultimately, we'll go on a survey, but we didn't want to spin our wheels on
Sure.
that yet.
When you do that, there, on the survey, you can sort of see the faint slate patio below.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of looks like if you're setting back another 5 feet, you may be bringing it in line with that slate patio. Can you just take a look at that when you
Yep.
have, box, when you have Rainer Marks and Carrington, put it on just to note that
Note where that is,
setback?
yeah,
Because
we can
that
do
may
that.
be an argument anyway.
Yep,
Jim, can you explain a couple of things for me?
sure.
Explain to me why this isn't substantial. It's a 35%,
Right.
increase.
Um,
And that's
well-
certainly mathematically
sure,
substantial.
sure. But in the context of the application itself, it's not, it's providing for my client, something that other people already have in the neighborhood.
I don't think zoning works that way, that.
Well, I don't think zoning works that it's an absolute mathematical calculation either.
No, I'm not saying that.
It's in the
But
context of,
substantial is substantial. I mean, and
Right.
numbers are numbers.
right, right.
35% is substantial.
Right. But from our perspective, this is a balance. So you may see what we're looking at as substantial, and we see that that's balanced against the benefit that runs to us in having a deck that's of a more reasonable size than exists.
Well, you're asking, I mean, you have a swimming pool now.
Right, right.
You have it, you have, two decks, an upper and a lower deck,
Mhm.
now.
Right.
But really, what drives this application is I want a bigger swimming pool and I want a bigger deck.
Correct. That's, yes. I don't dispute that.
Is it a bigger swimming pool?
Um, Is it a bigger?
13 by
Yeah,
20?
Yes.
Yeah,
If you look at the drawings, you can see the old pool. Yeah. I believe the owner told me that the pool he has is falling apart, and is in need of replacement.
I think what
I
we,
didn't have anything else for you right
what
now.
what we can do for next time is to provide some more detail as to what this, screening might look like.
Okay,
And, so on that basis, I would ask that you put it over for all purposes.
Sure.
Thank you.
yeah, and when we look at this, like, Joel was looking for, explaining how substantial it is, we always look at the 5 factors when
Right.
we do this,
Exactly.
okay? And that's one of them, so, good to address that.
Mhm.
Does anybody else have a comment on this application tonight? If that's not, we're all set, then I'm gonna make a motion, we hold this over for all purposes.
Second.
Second by Joe, and we're all in favor.
Well, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, number 6 on our agenda tonight, Cindy Scully, 21 Bay Road. Who's here for the Bay Road application? Nobody's here for the Scully, 21 Bay Road application? All right, we'll just, we'll come back to that at the end and see if the applicant's here. So we're going to way into our new applications, number 7 on our agenda. Enthusiasm LLC, 2 Brook Road, applicant request variances from 19730C 20B. Proposed lettering is 16 inches high, where the maximum permitted is 10 inches.
Tracy Rivera, Tracy's Permits, 363 Terryville Road, Terryville, New York. I'm here representing Sunset Theater, filed the applications.
Mhm.
We're looking to, actually, we passed the theater tonight and saw that the sign had already been done. I mean,
Yes, we did see it.
yeah, and I was just actually reviewing an email because I sent out an email being like, thanks for sending me into a board meeting without telling me. That, like, surprise to me, right?
Shoot the messenger tonight?
Yeah,
Got it?
no, please don't. It's the holiday time, so a little busy. Yeah, so, and it seems to be that, what's up may be a new design that they're looking to do that is, new to me. So I don't know how the board is gonna actually look at this. I do know that our application was to have new lettering that was put up that was 16 inches versus what we're actually permitted. Um, it's definitely a better look than what was there. And what was there didn't comply to the zoning code either. So what they're looking to now maintain is, substantially less than what was there.
Mhm.
What I'm getting in the email that I literally just opened in front of you, right? So I mean, not like having a little egg on the face. Shows the font slightly different than what we had proposed, and possibly the coloring of the letters being different, which when Caitlin and I drove past it earlier, and I'm like, are those temporary letters? Like, we were asking for some kind of polished bronze that matched the doors, and now the letters are red. So it looks like the red is something that they're thinking on wanting to maintain as per the email. But I'm not really sure how that works on the application because that's not what
What we
we.
have before us
Yeah.
is the size.
Perfect. I love
Okay.
that. Thank you so much. That just made my life a little easier, right?
So we-
Or
So
big.
yeah, so the size is 16 is what we're asking, and that's
Is
what.
that what's
put-
up there?
Yes,
We're looking
16
at
up
the
there, yeah.
16
And
inch
it looks
letters.
beautiful. You have to say, it does look very beautiful, clean. Does look good. Yeah, yeah. I think maybe I should stop expediting and do comedy from here on out. What do you think? Comedy?
Yeah, well,
Yeah. So the size is what we're looking for, but the size on what we're looking for is substantially less than what was there prior. Yes, I'm sure you do. You
Yeah,
have a small application. Yeah, and we did send an old, so
unless we have those.
yeah. So any feedback? Any feedback?
Totally. This is.
I'm laughing at the
Logical.
email. They're like, oh, we thought that you consulted this with the owners of the theater. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, did I miss an email somewhere? I mean, I get them on my phone. Did I miss? Yeah. So any questions?
Thank you for the entertainment.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. 'Cause I really, it's more thank you to me. Like, I'm like, what? I'm like, we drove past it. I'm like,
Anybody have any?
is this the right place?
Application?
No, no, good.
Why don't you just briefly go through the argument for the 16-inch letters? You know, I know you've got some things.
Okay, yeah, so the argument is that they wanted to remove the old sign because if you looked at it, it was just like Mod Podge, like it was just all over the place.
Okay,
And they were proposing to put a nice, clean, crisp sign up. The inches, if you looked at the size of the building and then the size of the letters as per zoning, you'd have to drive by with a magnifying glass to read it, right? So because of the location of where the building is and where it is in the circle, the larger sign is really kind of needed, so it kind of stands out a little bit. So people, you don't want to have a traffic
okay.
accident in the middle of the circle trying to read a sign.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. All right, we're good?
And thanks for the comment.
Yeah, no problem. Thank
Okay.
you. I think actually me and myself laughed. I'm looking at the email with her and I'm like, really? Are they kidding me? And I'm like, and she's like, oh, you're next. I'm like, oh, great, thanks. So,
This this meeting is recorded.
last night was even better. The one in Brookhaven was even better. So, I mean, yeah. Yeah, so, all right, we're good.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
If there's nothing else from anybody, I'm gonna make a motion. We go ahead and close this clear hearing for a decision. Second by John, all in favor? We're good. Thank you. Have a great Merry Christmas. All righty. That's good. Okay, Donald and Deidre Denahan, 286 Dune Road. Applicant requests variances from 19735B2 for a detached garage with unfinished storage above proposed to be located in the front yard where prohibited, and from 19735C for a proposed accessory structure setback of 13.6 feet where the minimum required is 20 feet.
Good afternoon. Kutrick Moats for the applicant, 54 Montauk Highway, Quogue, New York.
Mhm.
We are seeking to reconstruct an existing non-conforming garage and to add a second story to it in order to add more storage space. As you can see from the survey, this is a fully developed parcel. There's really nowhere to put even a shed or anything else to put some of the gear. As you can see from the photographs, the family is very active in sporting and fishing and kayaking and boating and all the other things that people do out here in our maritime community. I also have one other picture that I
Thank you.
Thanks.
This looks like a lot.
Yeah,
I saw
it's,
today.
yeah, I was gonna say, that's pretty organized.
It's pretty organized compared to what I
Yeah.
saw today.
Is this in your house? Is this in the
Uh-huh.
house?
no, this is in the garage.
Under the garage, yeah.
It's in the garage.
Garage is separated by, two spaces. They call this the attic, carpet, because it's the south and for the automotive and landscape.
Are you the applicant?
No, I'm sorry, I'm Joshua Swag, Austin Patterson Distant Architects. Happen to also be the architect who designed Mr. Denahan's home, 2 houses down, which to the village as well. We're back again to have this plan and this plan to us.
And so if you look at picture 4.4,
Yeah.
that's the doorway that leads into the room that you're looking at the photograph.
Yeah.
So, the property is already, we're seeking to use the existing footprint to make the construction conforming compliant and to add this second story so that they can move some of this stuff upstairs and be able to put a car to the garage.
Makes sense.
It's a good plan, right? So I don't believe it won't cause a change to the character of the neighborhood because this is smack in the middle of most of the commercial properties around it, condos, lawn parking lot, and except for the homes that the Denahans own, that's just they're surrounded. So this second story, which is really only adding 6.5 overall feet, it's adding 6 and all overall to that roof ridge, and then there's still the 18-inch, it's 18-inch
It's
cupola.
actually 26 inches, the cupola, so we're not going to the maximum allowable ridge. We're falling short of that. Just the small cupola in the center of the ridge brings us to the max allowable ridge. So overall, a small cupola versus the entire ridge of the building is lower than the max allowable by almost 30 inches.
Max allowable in a conforming location.
Max allowable for the definition of a detached garage vertical height.
See,
Exactly.
what you're up against right now is you're already too
Absolutely.
close to the road.
Absolutely.
So
We
that's,
thought would help.
that's our concern. You know, we don't, how high is it gonna be? What's it gonna look like from the road?
That's a great question, because if everybody, I'm gonna answer this question, if everybody turns to page A101 in their packets, this was really important to us.
Exhibit 3.
Exhibit 3?
Mhm.
As Kittrick had mentioned, even if it's surrounded by the lawn and other areas of parking, we still want to be as sensitive as possible to the character of the neighborhood. And more importantly, the streetscape experience, right? So, you know, as an architect, we think about how we design a building and how we want to pay respect to exactly, Mr. Chairman, what you're bringing the point to. And so what we did was we turned the actual gable ends towards the side yard property lines. So we have a descending ridge approaching the streetscape. And if you look at this exhibit here, and you see the north elevation and the south elevation, which are on the left-hand side of the exhibits, you'll see that the entirety width of the garage, half of it is a dormer. So that dormer only represents half. Whereas if you were designing a building and you wanted to maximize your square footage, which of course is the goal of Mr. Denahan, you could have had that dormer go from the furthest east point to the furthest west point. What we did was we broke the entire ridge so that you're seeing mostly descending roof line approach the streetscape of Dune Road. And that is my answer to your question about respecting the idea that this building in its current location be very innocuous to a degree as much as possible to that elevation, along with also not maximizing the building with the ridge. If that.
Thank you.
No.
And, so, and I'm understanding that you're gonna take the garage that's there down completely and start over?
Yes, sir.
And one small benefit is that we're only short of meeting FEMA requirements by a few fractions, a few inches. By doing this, we're also able to raise it up to meet FEMA compliance, which is not a huge victory, but it's a small victory in a series of.
That was gonna be my next, participating well tonight.
Okay, getting lucky.
Maybe you're just getting wise to my act, I don't know. Okay, well, this is good, thank you for.
I see it's got an existing, bath. So
That's going away.
okay,
That's definitely being removed.
okay.
What's being removed?
The existing bathroom in there.
So no plumbing.
Correct. No problem. We're making it more conforming.
Green application.
It's good.
Well, and the garage has been in its location since apparently 1969 without causing too much aggravation.
Yeah. It's screened pretty nice right now. I think the property is pretty private. Good. I don't have anything else right now, gentlemen, anybody?
Good.
Anybody? Comments, questions on this app? No? Okay, I think that, we can go ahead and close the hearing for a decision. I'm gonna make a motion to close this hearing for decision next month.
Second.
Second by Jim, all in favor? Good. All right.
Thank
you.
Holidays.
Thanks to you.
Take care.
Okay, moving right along. Number 9, Beechwood, West Hampton LLC, 50 Depot Road. Applicant seeks variance from 197-7A3 for proposed habitable space, office, rec room, and detached building, which is not deemed to be normal and accessory to a principal, single-family dwelling. We need this for that other page. You have one? Mhm. Hello.
Good evening, Paulina Gianpietro with the offices of Richard W. Rosenberg, PC, located at 200 Robbins Lane, Suite Z1, Jericho, New York, representing the applicant Beechwood West Hampton LLC, who's the owner of the subject premises. Just going to hand out a few pages that I think might help with my presentation.
We could pass them down to the. Thank you. You could just give one to Megan, so it'd be great.
So, good evening. The subject premises is located at 50 Depot Road, West Hampton Beach, New York, 11978, identified as Section 4, Block 1, Lot 14.15 on the Suffolk County Tax Map, and is zoned R2. The premise is currently under construction with a two-story single-family dwelling with a roofed-over front porch, rear patio, swimming pool, and a detached two-car garage. The applicant is requesting relief from section 197-7A3 of the Village of West Hampton Beach zoning code, for which the proposed habitable space on the second floor of the detached garage, which was deemed not to be normal and accessory for the primary single-family dwelling. The applicant has obtained a building permit for the subject premises for the single-family dwelling and the detached two-car garage, and it complies with all zoning requirements. So what I had handed out to you this evening is the floor plans and the elevations of the detached garage, and then the site plan, so you can see where everything is located. The applicant wishes to finish with sheetrock the second floor of the detached garage to make the space more usable. The use of the second floor of the detached garage will be for future use of a home gym or home office. The proposed second floor finished space does not have any kitchen or bathroom facilities. I would like to note on the plans that were submitted with the application, as you can see on what I had just handed out, on the first floor, there is a half bath that's only accessible from the outside, not within the garage structure. And it's located underneath the stairs in the garage. And there's an outdoor shower. This will be used for the homeowners that will be out by the pool. The applicant is seeking relief of approval as requested in accordance with precedent that was sent by the board on previous matters similar to this application that's presented to you tonight. I'm just going to run through the 5 factors. Factor 1, whether the variance will cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to the nearby properties. No, in creating this habitable space in the second story of the detached garage, it will not cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the nearby properties, as this space will be for personal use by the owners of the property and there's no proposed expansion to the permitted detached structure that meets all setback requirements currently. Factor 2, whether the benefit can be achieved by a feasible alternative. No, this benefit cannot be achieved by a feasible alternative, as there's no other location within the home for this use that we're proposing. The third factor, whether the variance is substantial. No, the variance is not substantial, as finishing the second story of the detached garage is de minimis and would not have an impact on the neighboring community. Fourth factor, whether the variance will have an adverse physical or environmental impact. It will not have an adverse physical or environmental impact. And lastly, factor 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. The difficulty on appearance seems to be self-created due to my client's wish to optimizing the property by finishing the space above the garage, which is permitted unfinished. However, if the garage was attached to the house, it would be a permitted finished space above that garage. In summary, the habitable space will not change the factor of the neighborhood and will be a detriment to the nearby property. It will not be a detriment to the nearby properties, as it will be for the homeowner's personal use, and the benefit of the habitable space in the second story of the detached garage cannot be achieved without this area variance we are seeking tonight. The benefits to the applicant outweighs the impacts to the community, and as such, we respectfully request the variance be granted. I would also like to note that we spoke to the property owners that are adjoining, our neighboring property owners that are adjoining, and they advised that they have no objection to this variance. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
The, you say rec room or office?
Yeah, so we propose it as that we are the developers of this lot. We do not currently have a contract for this, but we do hope that having this additional space, because the house is smaller compared to some of the others that we've developed in this community, that this will help be a good marketability to this house.
So, our concern always with this is now you just stated that the half bath is not accessible from inside the garage.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. There's only one door. It's just, a toilet and a sink. It's just outside. The door is outside,
Huh?
so you cannot get in through the garage while you're inside the garage. You have to go outside the garage.
So it's not gonna have any bedrooms in it. It's just gonna be a kind of a usable space that they want to finish back there.
Correct. So it's just multi-purpose. Yeah. No plumbing facilities upstairs on the second floor. No kitchen
All right.
facilities up
But
there.
that's, if this variance is approved, that's a pretty important, when you market the house to sell it, you don't want people looking at it thinking that they got a apartment there for their kids to live
Right.
in.
Of course. It's
Right?
just gonna
Yeah.
be extra rec room.
Right. Utilizing the space above the garage, unlike the applicant earlier tonight that wants to put their kayaks up there. Right, the one on Dream Road. Yeah. Okay, any comments? Questions? No? Board members, anything else for, anybody? No? Okay, I think we're good then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, have a great holiday. I'm gonna
Thank
make a motion that we close this hearing for a decision.
Second.
Second by John, you all in favor?
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you, too.
See, we didn't bite. Okay, our last one is, COTOJY LLC. I don't expect I'm gonna pronounce that, right? 71 Rogers Avenue, applicant seeks variance of 197-9D for a proposed one-story garage addition with a second front yard setback, corner lot of 29.9 feet, where the minimum required is 40 feet. So, good evening.
I'm Brett Marisha, the builder. This is Trish and Glenn, the owners.
There's property owners. I know you guys, right? I walk by your house every day,
Every day,
right? Every day.
do you? On the
Yes.
corner?
My German Shepherd and I. Right?
Little mini schnauzers.
Right? We have, yeah, so I know you guys. That's right. So,
Hope you had at least or something.
Right.
Please don't get us in trouble.
so, I know the house. I know the property. I was walking through the driveway the other day and I got to say hello to your neighbor across the street.
Jimmy? Jim, Jim?
Thatcher, yeah.
Yeah.
Young Jim,
Young Jim.
young Jim. So,
Junior.
You guys got a tough, this is interesting, because Rogers Avenue is right where it turns into Rogers Avenue Extension. So that's, makes it a corner lot, right? Two separate roads right there. It's just not a continuation of Rogers Avenue. Okay, so. You want to put the garage is still, tell me, go through your application.
What we're trying to do is, do a master suite upstairs for them to have upstairs, away from grandkids. That's the possibility. So we're gonna take over the garage, the existing garage, and make a larger, dining room. It's a very small dining room, so they have a bigger dining room for the family to come out and have,
Okay,
Christmas and Thanksgiving or what it is.
right.
Then they want another garage to store more stuff. Store more stuff. So we need another 12 feet over there. So we're going to go from a 40-foot setback to 29.9.
So
So-
40 feet setback, which would be.
That's on the north
that's
side.
Front yard
Right.
setback. So in essence, this is, even though it's technically by code, front yard, this is your side yard.
Side yard, yes.
I mean, living wise.
This is the Ketchuponic Street side.
I
It's
know
as
it
you-
well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with-
Yeah.
It's as you make the turn around, so there's no house in front of us, it's the street.
Yeah.
There's no neighbor, we're not gonna encroach on anybody else. And what it is when you walk in, it's a tiny house. It's a tiny house.
Mhm.
I'm Italian, I like to cook. There's no table. We are squished because I shoved a big, long table into the living room. We need to push it into the dining, to the garage. That's the goal.
You want a little more space, you want to go up to this. I mean, you're still gonna be on almost what, 29 feet from? 29.9.
9.
So in the R4 district, if it was a side yard, you'd need 15.
15. It would be 15 if it were a real
If it was a
side.
real side yard, it'd be 15 feet.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Board members, questions?
The only thing I want to just say, Megan, it's actually Cojoty, Cojoty, and that honestly, so that's the invasion of the body snatchers. When the children come, it's Courtney, Jonathan, and Tyler.
It's on. You guys, that's funny, okay. I don't have anything else. I know that was a good dinner. Just give us one. Yeah.
Big ZD.
Okay. Question on this?
No, I just didn't have a copy of the file.
Straightforward.
Any other questions? Everything's.
I don't have any further questions. for you folks. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just make a motion. We close this hearing.
Second.
Second by Joe. We're all in favor? All right. Okay, so we're set.
Thank you and happy holidays,
Thank you.
everyone.
Enjoy the holiday.
Now, I'll be by about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
It'll be safe.
Okay, folks, we're all set.
This was
We're gonna recall
Bay Road, 21.
21 Bay, but no, nobody's here. I'm sure that's why Patty is here to see it, huh? There's no show, Patty. So I guess, Megan, we could contact them and see what's going on, and we'll hold this over for all purposes for another month. Make a motion, we hold it over for all purposes for another month.
Second.
Second by Jim, good, okay. I don't know why.
It's a good time here at the holiday, so keep in mind, it was the architect presenting it.
Yeah, it was the architect that was presenting it.
Right, it was the architect.
Okay, well, that concludes our business for tonight. Make a motion, we close tonight's meeting. Second by Dan, all in favor? We're out, good.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Folks.